free will. Just about everyone thinks that what they do is their own will. Is this true? If you ask me, yes, but actually no. It's rather complex to know if something was your own doing or the doing of your body, thoughts, or just the reactions of whatever is going on around you. Right out of the gate, not everything you do is of your own free will. For an example, you get those random shivers down your spine or jump at a loud noise. You do not think to yourself that I should shiver down my spine, nor do you think about jumping when you are scared. It just happens. It's outside of your control. It is outside of your will. This is something that you're going to have to understand. Not only that, but when it comes to your decision-making skills, I believe there are very few decisions you yourself actually make. Going into this thought a little deeper, we have what most people think about when you say that there is no free will, and that is the environment you grow up in. The early life environment is one of, if not the most important factor to determine your beliefs and thought process. Let us say that you grow up on a bad side of town. You will likely have trust issues when it comes to strangers. You will likely be concerned about getting into the crossfire of some gang shooting, to name an extreme example. However, if you grow up in a rural area, then you will likely know all your neighbors and have good relations with most, if not all, the people around you. Hell, in that environment you will most likely be more concerned about wild animals more than people. The environment you grow up in will teach you how to act, react, and live in the environment itself. These people will undoubtedly react differently to the same situation. So when you are born into a country, a culture, or what have you, you will be shaped by the people around you. The environment will shape you to an even greater degree, and then genetics will also play a role in all of this. But I digress. In the culture you will find yourself in is where you will learn right from wrong, how to conduct yourself, and how to treat others around you. All these things will build up to make you who you are, or at least for the most part. So if all these things add up to who you are, would that not mean that your will is the will of greater society? I will leave it to you to answer that question. Now, time for the part that will get me in a little bit of trouble, that being genetics. Hold on. I'm not going to say that eugenicists are correct, or at least not fully. Okay, I'm just going to say what I'm going to say and the consequences be damned. From what I have seen firsthand, and from what I have been told, people are governed by genetics, at least partly. I will start with a story that was told to me by, if I recall correctly, it was my English teacher back in high school. Now, she told me of a story that I believe was of a family friend. The story goes there was a rich-ish family, and they were very calm and refined. Even their young son was calm. And one day they decided to adopt a child. And he was very much not calm. Now, he was a baby. He had little to no interaction with people who would show him how to be really bombastic. As he got older, nothing really changed, but he got in a lot more trouble on top of his flamboyant party attitude. His family tried their best to keep him on the straight and narrow, but they couldn't keep him there very long. Later in his life, he found his real parents, and they were stereotypical druggies. So, after he found that out, he started doing the opposite of what he thought was right, and his life greatly improved, much to the joy of his adopted parents. But again, I am not a eugenicist, but the genetics were very much a contributing force to his decision-making. Nature was definitely overpowering nurture in this case. I have many more examples, especially of the genetic factor, but if I were to go over them all, we would be here for a week, so moving on. For me, the overall amount of free will someone can have varies. You can never have complete and total free will, but you can get about 80% there. You can never have total free will for the reasons stated earlier, but you can have more or less. Let me explain. Addiction. It doesn't really matter what you are addicted to, but for this go-around I will be using the most well-known example, that being drugs. Now, I myself have never been addicted to any drugs, but I have spoken to those who have, and everyone, and I mean everyone, said that they knew it was wrong. It was going to kill them. They knew they needed to stop, but addiction is addiction. Did they take those drugs against their will? Were they not all slaves to whatever it was they were taking at the time? This is of course an extreme example, but I believe it gets the point across. It is incredibly difficult to determine what free will truly is. It could be different for everyone, and I am not the arbiter of truth nor morality, so I do not want to say what is or isn't free will beyond the most obvious examples. But I have some thoughts on how I find what is true free will for me, and that is being governed by reason, for the most part. You still need emotion, you still need empathy and kindness. You don't want to be the guy who only looks at others as tools to be used confused, because good luck trying to find any friends acting like that. But I digress. Since we are a product of our environment and genetics, we all have biases to any and all questions, answers, actions, expressions, and more. Many of those will be based on emotion and nothing else. Now, I seriously hate the people who say that they believe in something but can't tell me why. They say these things because they have no morality of their own. The only thing they want are others to tell them what to think. They are governed by emotion and emotion alone. For the love of all that is good in this world, if you cannot tell me why you believe something and make a serious logical attempt, you need to do some serious soul-searching immediately. But nevertheless, I have given you a bit of my thoughts on the subject. I am sure many disagree, and please do. I would love to read your thoughts on the subject. Now, take care.